Would you like to do one straight on accountability?
Sure. Yeah. Everybody's favorite subject. So when do we start?
Right now.
Okay. Accountability, it's interesting. And I don't know your experience, but people, you talk about accountability, people say, oh yeah, a lot of people need that. Like, gee, could you be one of them? But
I don't know anybody that doesn't.
That's a common phrase. Oh, I know so many people that could use that. Yeah, including you, because it's not something that is. In fact, if you're saying I know people that need that, you're not being accountable.
Okay.
You're subtly blaming others for something.
Yeah.
And accountability, there's no blame. It is probably the most liberating concept, and it ties hand in hand with intention. Because when you have an intention and you don't get there, I've seen this with people. I've sent them out on a challenge and they come back and, oh, we didn't get it, blah, blah, blah. Nobody wanted to send them on a thing where they got to get people to participate in something, like a song or something. Oh, nobody wanted to do it. It's like, well, that's accountable. Not. First of all, you didn't inspire them. And let's look at it. Let's look at how you went about this challenge. When I look at accountability, it's how did I create this? It's never about the other person. Never, 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 never. That's a tough one to grasp. So how did I create
Especially
this?
when everyone wants to blame.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they didn't want to do it. Well, that's blame. I didn't inspire them. But let's go back even before that. When you left the room, what were your thoughts? Oh, nobody's going to want to do this. Well, right there, you were dead in the water. Instead of let's go find people that want to do this, that we can inspire to do this. Nobody's going to want to do this. So, your energy going up to people is probably going to be, you want to do something stupid? No? Okay.
Everybody I know is accountable for something. I mean, if you have a job, you're accountable to your boss or your employer or whatever. In marriages, you're accountable to your spouse. I feel like you're accountable to your kids on the way that you show up. There's so many things you could talk about in the importance of accountability. One of the things is, breaking the law. If somebody breaks the law and they're arrested, they're held accountable for their actions of what they've done. And I think one of the cool things about accountability is I think it ties in so much with results never lie, because what they do, that accountability, those results right there, it speaks a lot of truth to a lot of people,
Yeah, I'm going to throw a little wrinkle in that. I'm going to say we're not accountable to anybody. We're just accountable or we're not.
Right. Okay.
I'm not accountable to my wife. I'm accountable or I'm not. She'll do what she does with it. You really can't hold somebody accountable because you're making it about them. You can only be accountable and deal with them from an accountable perspective or come from. But to say I'm going to hold them accountable, it implies that I have some sort of power over them. I can, hold them to their word, but I either do it from an accountable space or a victim space. Now, one way, we know
that's the way I was meaning it. By the way you explained it, that was more of the way I was meaning it. You're being accountable yourself,
right,
towards others. That's the way I was meaning it.
So if I'm angry at someone, I'm not accountable, I'm a victim. So if I'm in the process of holding them accountable, doing it from an anger perspective, I'm not being accountable, because nothing anybody's ever done or has done to me has changed the nature of who I am. So they haven't harmed me. They haven't affected me. Now, if somebody has ripped me off, so to speak, even that term is a victim statement. There's an accountability, but it isn't blame. It's just looking at what did I know? What did I feel? What did I deny? What did I ignore? all these little things. What were my conversations? And that's a key one. What were my conversations going into this? Like maybe I had a conversation before I got into a business deal with someone of don't do that. A little something saying, don't get in that, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't listen to it. Why? Because I wanted to be liked, or I wanted to be agreeable. I didn't want to make waves or whatever. So all those things come into play when we're talking about accountability, because this is one of the most liberating concepts, but let's just face it, sometimes it sucks. Not really, but it seems like it sucks to be accountable, because we think it's about blaming ourselves, but it's not. You can't learn it from blaming anybody, including yourself. But it's about learning and saying, how did I create this? So I'll give you an example. There's people, you saw in training, everybody gave their word to be on time. Well, inevitably somebody's late. What's the accountable version? Oh, I should have left earlier. That's not accountability. It has nothing to do with accountability. What were your thoughts? What were your beliefs? What did you assume? Well, I assumed it was Saturday. There would be no traffic. Okay. So you made an assumption. Was there traffic? Yes. Did you have anything that might have told you maybe leave earlier? Not because you should have, but because something said, you may be challenged with traffic, or you may be, just leave earlier. And if you did you listen to it? Because it's easy to go back to, I should have left earlier. Well, you know what? Here's the deal. If you were late, there are no accidents. You would have found some other reason to be late. You could have left earlier. There would be another reason. Why? Because you weren't committed to be on time. That's it. You would have found another reason. You would have stopped. I had a guy once, he's like, well, I thought I had time. I went to get a sandwich and they took longer than I thought they would. And so I was late. Well, that's not why you were late. That's what happened. Well, why were you late? Because somewhere inside of you were not committed to be on time. And grasping that, because we want to make it about circumstances. It's not about circumstances. I've seen people who, I remember, a Saturday driving from Kaysville to Salt Lake. And on a Saturday, traffic was stopped. And first I'm like, I gotta be on time. Then I pause, like, okay, how did I create this? And what are the possibilities? All of a sudden, traffic started moving.
That's cool.
And we go, well, wait, that's just coincidence. No? Well, yes, it is, because coincidence is two energetic incidences coming together to support a greater energy. So, yeah, coincidence. I got clear and traffic moved. Absolutely coincidental. But yeah, we tend to lump accountability because, you work in a corporation, something goes wrong, they go, we're going to hold somebody accountable. In other words, somebody's going to get fired. They're not holding anybody accountable. They're blaming, and they're going to, punish someone. That's not accountability. There's no punishment in accountability. There may be a punishment, but it's for a lesson, not to just simply punish.
Awesome. Sometimes I just get caught up in just listening to you, everything. I'm just like, all right, what else you got? Because it's awesome. Man, my mind's going a million miles an hour. And
Well, you've been in network marketing many times, and sometimes it can be frustrating because you go, oh, my people just won't do anything. Well, that's a powerless place to be. There's a couple things you could look at there. Well, what kind of people am I attracting? What is it about me that I'm attracting them? That people that don't want to really do anything? Or how is it I'm inspiring or not inspiring? You can't make them do things. You can't, we don't have that kind of control. But we do have things we can look at. And it's like, well, okay, what kind of people do I want in my organization? And you can get clear on that and say, well, how do I get to show up that they would want to be on my team? But typically what we do is, oh, my people, they don't want to do anything. They don't, this comment, they don't want it bad enough. Well, yeah, they want something else more. They want comfort. They want just to be secure. They want this or they want that. What they don't want is rejection. They don't want to go out and push through and pay the price and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, they don't want it bad enough because they have other things they're holding on to, like a fear or, they'd rather do other things with their time and blah, blah, blah. So the accountable version is, why am I attracting that? And what is it about me that they're not feeling inspired to go out and move beyond that?
Definitely starts with yourself. That's for sure.
Well, it's the only person you have control over.
When I do trainings for, telemarketing companies or, network marketing companies, one of the things is like getting clear with their intentions of what they want to create, being accountable to yourself, writing your goals down and being accountable to yourself on every call, every time you talk to somebody, but for a lot of times I notice that people, they get afraid with wanting to move forward with that because they feel like a no is like themselves being rejected. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And, and that's where their, fear comes into stuff. Is that you or is that me?
That's me. I'm on this thread and getting, everybody's pinging. I don't have to turn it off without turning off the sound.
Oh,
so bear with
that works.
Okay, but
No
I just had a thought I was going to say. And I lost it. Anyway, keep going. Maybe I'll pick it up again.
No, but I noticed accountability for myself, if I want to lose weight, if I want this, I want that, instead of the excuses of why won't this work or anything, it's kind of like what we said in the last video when we were talking about, I have this friend she's a professional bodybuilder. And, she said something to me that I thought it was really cool because she said, I work out because I love my body. Mm-hmm. And that means more to me than the pain of working out. And it was just a different way of looking at it, and I thought that was awesome. So anyway, we could talk about all this for a long time. Is there anything else that you'd like to add on?
I had a thought, but it just slipped away because I got all these pings that I'm going to blame the distraction.
And the accountable version is?
I forgot. That's not really even being accountable.
So you get to figure out how to get the pings off your phone there.
Well, it's on the computer. And I don't know without turning down the sound. But yeah, it's kind of obnoxious, but you got to deal with it. You got to roll with it.
No
anyway,
worries. This is my 6th coronavirus beard, by the way.
Oh, I've had plenty of haircuts and.
Oh man, I like shave it off and I just grow it back.
I'll wear a mask when they ask me, but I'm good. I'm healthy. And I'm choosing to stay healthy. That's another thing about accountability.
Yeah.
You actually can choose health. Deepak Chopra says he hasn't been sick in 20 some years. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Because
would you, with what's going on in the world and stuff like that, with all the, the riots and, just all the crap that's going on and stuff, what would you say like the accountable version is of that and what's going on with all that?
Well, that's a great question. I am not accountable for other people, but I'm accountable for the environment that I contribute to. I'm not responsible for anybody's behavior but my own. However, are we contributing to an environment of fear? Because it's all out of fear. It's all out of I don't feel I'm heard. I don't feel I matter. So I'm going to do this and that. So if I look at it through condemnation of, I'm like if somebody came up to my house and wanted to burn it, you bet I'm going to take some action. And I know what I would do. Because, I'm accountable too. I don't get to let it just, somebody harm me or harm my family. But at the same time, if I'm looking at them through condemnation, I'm contributing to the same thing I'm condemning, because it's coming out of my own fear. But really there's two sources. There's love and fear. So to look at it through loving eyes doesn't mean I go, oh, aren't they cute? Gee, they're just expressing themselves. No, they're inflicting damage, but it's out of fear. How am I contributing? Am I contributing to fear? Am I contributing to an environment that is fearful, judgmental, condemning, or am I contributing to an environment that would seek to see the spirit and the magnificence of people? All of them have that, but it's been buried. Now, if they come into my training, and I've had, gangbangers and things like that think they're tough and blah, blah, that's their image. And they're afraid. So that's why they join a gang. They want to feel like they matter. So they go where they feel like somebody will accept them. You look past that, and I've seen some of them crying like babies when you get into their magnificence, and they realize it's all because they've been hurt. And it's pretty sweet, actually.
When I watch, these videos of stuff, these rioters and things like that, I always notice it's like certain group of people, most of them seem to be a certain age and things like that. And it's when you take them out of that mob scene, that riot, whatever, and you're dealing with them one-on-one, to me, that's when you get to see how great they are, things like this. But it's like when you stick them in with a whole bunch of people, that energy and stuff, it's so infectious. It's scary. It's
Well, it's, to me, it's part and parcel to the trophies for all thing. We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, so everybody gets a trophy. So we're not challenging people to achieve their greatest or magnificence. We're just, hey, you're breathing, so let's give you a trophy for getting out of bed.
Oh, I thought that was the stupidest thing ever, because to me, that and I didn't mean to interrupt, but it's like, to me, it was one of those things, like if you're in baseball and, you win, you get the trophy. If you're in last place and stuff, to me, that was motivation to try better, to work harder, but, a lot of these people, it doesn't matter, I'm going to get a trophy anyway. It's like,
well,
where's
because
they're not going to push themselves,
Yeah, so we're I think we're babying people because we don't feel like they can handle it. People are more powerful than they believe. That's one of the basic concepts of what I do in coaching and training.
Absolutely.
So when people even come to me and say, well, how much do you charge? And I tell them, well, I can't afford that. Well, you're more powerful than you believe. So if you want to find out, get the money and pay me.
All right, brother. Well, man, time flies so fast when we're talking, that's for sure.
Yeah, it does.
So anything else you want to wrap up with this particular one there?
I think, we can go on and bore people to death.
No, I appreciate it so much here. I'm going to end this one here, so hold on a second.